Hello and welcome everyone to yet another one of my videos on The Flash Season 4. Now in this video I'll be discussing the straight out Easter egg on the 21st episode of the 3rd season with Barry losing his memory and insisting on calling himself Bart. I'm guessing we all know by now this was hinting at Bart Allen, who was first introduced in the comics as the grandson of both Barry Allen and Iris West. And just like Wally West on the show happens to be Kid Flash and Barry Allen's sidekick, Bart is Kid Flash to Wally's Flash. So what I'm going to speak of here is more of the background of Bart in the comics and the ways I believe they could introduce him on the show. Now the reason I believe they would actually go for bringing him into the fold of the Flash is the fact that they haven't been really subtle with their Easter eggs as of recently. They dropped the name of DeVoe the Thinker twice, and they made him into the villain of the 4th season. They also went for the whole HR looking at the piece from Savitar's suit in Star Labs at the very end of the penultimate episode, and then revealed at the very start of the finale that he used it to kind of track Savitar, get to his lair, and switch places with Iris. Kinda pisses me off how obvious they are if you ask me. However, before I dig deeper into the topic of this video, I'd like to remind you that it is always much appreciated if you drop me a like if you end up liking the content of this video, and if you subscribe if you want to see more of my The Flash videos. I will also remind you to click the bell-shaped icon underneath this video if you haven't already. That way you would get notified of my new videos as they come online. So the biggest questions here are, who is Bart Allen? What's his background story, as well as when and how he can possibly appear on The Flash in specific, or the Arrowverse in general. As I mentioned when I started this video, Bart Allen has already been teased, and hopefully now it's all a matter of time before he makes one appearance or the other, not necessarily on The Flash, but possibly as well on Legends of Tomorrow. The reason I think here of The Flash and Legends of Tomorrow is of course the obvious fact that they are the two Arrowverse shows with time travel to their name. Now Bart Allen basically went by 3 alter ego names in the comics: Kid Flash to Wally West Flash, Impulse being the most prominent and most common, as well as the name given to him by Batman, and finally, The Flash for a very brief period of time. The name Impulse, though, was not given to him by Batman as some sort of a compliment. It was all because of the obvious reason, which is acting on impulse rather than thinking things through. Now while the character in the comics happens to be the son of Don Allen and Melonie Thawne, and grandson of Barry Allen, and while he was born and raised in the 30th century, the show might decide to do things differently, make him more of a son to Barry Allen. Now this would definitely tie in with the Iris is pregnant theory floating all over the place. Personally though, I don't like that theory at all, because I kinda believe Barry should come back from the Speed Force to find everyone has given up hope on him and possibly moved on. As I stated on my video on theories on Barry's return and how he would spend his time in the Speed Force, I'd really like for the return to be all Barry's hard work and all his doing. It's all kind of a product of my belief that there is no lesson to be learned if Team Flash were the ones to get him out early on during the events of the 4th season. Now besides changing the comics to make Bart into Barry's son instead of his grandson, I believe there's a good chance as well they could work the character out in a similar manner to his counterpart on Young Justice. Now I don't exactly remember the arc there, but I remember him traveling back in time and meeting up with Barry Allen. In terms of how he got his powers though, unlike Barry having to go through the whole accident that gave him his powers, Bart in the comics was actually born with these powers of his. And that speed did not just give him the accelerated metabolism his grandfather had, but also had him age quicker than he should. Think of him as a 2 to 3 year old with the body of a 10 to 12 year old. Now to stop the aging, his grandmother, that being Iris West, took him back to the present, where Wally was the Flash at the time, and where she enlisted her nephew's help to try and stop Bart's accelerated growth. Remember though, Wally in the comics is not a sibling of Iris. Now at that point Wally had Bart use his speed at extraordinary levels, knocking his metabolism back on track. Now there's also the comic book arc during his tenure as the Flash in which he spends a few years in an alternate reality with Max Mercury, Barry Allen, Wally West, and Jay Garrick. The Flash could definitely work out a variation of that by bringing in an alternate reality or alternate Earth Bart Allen into the scene. But speaking of his abilities, he's considerably faster than any other speedster. In the comics, Wally West at some point states that he's actually faster than all other known speedsters combined. Bart Allen is actually capable of lending and borrowing speed from others. He has the ability to appear invisible through vibrating to manipulate his biomass. He can as well duplicate, creating clones of himself that he can can send anywhere through time, which could be one way he could end up appearing on the show. And just like Barry and any other speedster, he can heal faster than a normal human being. But his most distinguishing ability happens to be his photographic memory. It's sort of like when Barry quickly flips through a book on the show, except he can actually retain the information forever once he's memorized it. So as I mentioned, there are so many ways Bart could appear on the 4th season of the show. I'm not saying it is a sure thing here, but it's kind of possible. It is kind of possible as well he appears on Legends first and then ends up on The Flash somehow, possibly right before the crossover event and going into it. There's also the chance that he might not appear this season on either shows and appear more in the following season, maybe joining Team Legends on their adventures. He could then be one of the Legends for this one season in a similar manner to how the show switched those around from the 1st to the 2nd season and just added a new one to the 3rd season of Legends. That would probably be around the time he ends up showing on The Flash as well as part of the 5th season's crossover. Now he could as well travel into the present on The Flash, and it would be fun watching the team all suspicious of him. I mean, they trusted Wells in season 1 and then fake Jay Garrick on season 2, and they both turned out to be evil. So they're kind of entitled to suspecting anyone new who walks on them, claiming he's a good speedster. But in the end though, I don't believe he'll be sticking around for too long on The Flash, if he does make an appearance, that is. The show has already attempted to juggle too many speedsters on the 3rd season and always left off unable to explore them more, considering Earth 1 already has 2 of them. So most probably his appearance will be more of a cameo or a guest role to deal with an insanely intense major villain, like possibly on the crossover of the upcoming season or the following season. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what you think of the possibility of Bart appearing on the show, if you think he would end up being born to Iris and Barry and just name their son on the show, or if he would travel back from the future, or if his arc would start on Legends before it touches base with The Flash. Let me know as well if there were any other videos you'd like for me to upload on any of these shows or others I review. My videos, however, over the next couple of weeks will be a bit limited, seeing as to how I'll be busy with work, quarter end and all. But regardless, I'll be throwing in a video here and there over the course of these 2 weeks. In the meanwhile, you can check other videos on my channel, like my recent ranking of all the DC and Marvel based seasons that aired throughout the 2016-2017 schedule. But until I see you next, thank you all for watching and have a wonderful day.